Well, hi, it is Just Be Well. I'm Tom Sult, a medical doctor and functional medicine practitioner.
I'm Elizabeth, a registered nurse and whole life coach.
And today we're talking about virus season. And of course, the virus on everybody's mind is COVID-19. And it is, of course, blooming. But, flu season is upon us as well as just the regular cough and cold season. So the idea is, what can we do to defend ourselves?
From all things, because, let's be real here. You get the sniffles and, the first thing that you think or people around you think is, oh, could you have COVID? So I think, really priming our immune system to prevent those little sniffles has many benefits as well.
Right. I have allergies, so I'm going into a store the other day, and I figure, I better stand out here until I finish sneezing, because if I sneeze in the store, I think a SWAT team's going to come after me.
Hi, Jane.
Yeah, hi, Jane. So here's the thing. It boils down to the things we all know, but don't do. And some supplements that we'll talk about.
Right. And just, we'll talk about maybe a few tips and tricks of how to incorporate those things that we all know that we should do into our kind of daily lives.
So for me, number one is sleep. How much sleep should you get?
8 hours.
Yeah, so, they talk
On
about
average.
8 hours. That's average. And it turns out that, two standard deviations, which means 97% of all human beings, between 7 and 9.
Yeah.
I just posted an article the other day on this very page, I think, or maybe it was on the public page, that getting 6 hours or 6 hours a night of sleep is, from a cognitive function point of view, almost the same as not sleeping. So getting 6 hours of sleep for 2 weeks,
Consecutively, yes.
consecutive for at least 2 weeks, people performed about the same as somebody who didn't sleep at all for one night. So, this idea that people, I can get by on 5. No, actually you can't. And it's detrimental to every aspect of your wellness. So sleep. So what does that mean? Well, I got to start my new regimen, and I got to get up at 5 a.m. and I got to exercise. Okay. Count backwards. You got to be in bed at 9.
I'm just smiling because that's what you've been doing this week.
I know.
You've been getting up at 5 o'clock, and then last night, I think it was the night before, you were to bed a little bit late.
And so I didn't get up because I'm dedicated to giving myself an opportunity. Sometimes you toss and turn, but at least an opportunity for 8 hours of rest. Right. So that's number one. Number one is sleep. Well, sleep is restorative in almost every conceivable way. And the thing that is probably so if sleep is restorative, what's the thing that's the most, detractive, is that a word, from your health? It's probably stress. Yeah.
I think it's stress. And, given the state of the world on many different, subjects, I think that everyone's stress level is probably a little bit higher than usual. So, and it's not, it's more about how you deal with stress than obviously avoiding stress, because none of us can totally avoid stress.
I like to say it's not the thing that causes stress, it's your relationship to the thing that causes stress. So, this idea that we can reduce stress or eliminate stress. No, but we can change our relationship to the stressor, right? So what kinds of things can help us be more mindful around stress?
Mindfulness.
Mindfulness, that's right.
So just being, sometimes it's obviously, like you were saying, kind of our relationship to it, so our thought of it. So with mindfulness, it's just trying to let go of those thoughts and maybe think about something that's a little bit more pleasing.
Yeah, John Kabat-Zinn has written a great book, several books, one called Wherever You Are, There You Go, and another one called Full Catastrophe Living. And he's talking about embracing the full catastrophe that is life. But don't be attached to it. And that's what meditation and mindfulness and those kinds of things help us do, is take a step back and be less attached to our perception of the ideal outcome. Because, we can work hard for an outcome, but it doesn't mean it's going to happen. His program, which really boils down to 45 minutes of mindfulness twice a day, has better results than interventional pain management programs. So this is powerful, not just fluff. I think another thing, and one thing that the whole COVID, especially here in Minnesota where we're shutting down again, right? We're not going to be able to go to restaurants, and recommending, I don't even think it's a recommendation, it's an order that you can't congregate with people outside of your immediate family. That's a problem, because one of the greatest things that helps us attain health is community and social interaction. In fact, what's the term for the highest level of prevention? That's
Social integration.
Yeah, what is social integration?
So social integration is what we are all completely avoiding right now.
Yeah.
It's, just those daily interactions that you have with, say, the person in line at the grocery store, or when you walk into a building and somebody is perhaps behind you, holding the door open for them, smiling at them, having a short conversation with them. Yes, eye contact, all those things. And, it's now we're avoiding people, and we have masks on, and we're staying 6 feet apart.
Which the 6 feet isn't so bad, but, the problem is Zoom on some level. There's a gizmo for people who do professional interviews where they actually look into a thing, and then it projects their face right in front of the camera, because my camera is actually right there, right? It's over there someplace. But I'm looking kind of at myself right there, or at Elizabeth. But if you're on a Zoom call, you're looking at their picture, if I can point to her picture, but not at the camera. And it's when I look at the camera that it looks like I'm looking at you. But if I'm so when we're doing Zoom calls, we're never really looking anyone in the eye, right? There's a serious problem here, and I think technology will fix that. Somebody will come out with a gizmo that you can put in front of your camera that projects your screen onto the camera, and the person talking. Zoom needs to fix this so that the person talking becomes front and center and can be something that can be projected on a half reflective mirror, like a teleprompter. Most people are familiar with a teleprompter does. Well, you can do that with an image, and that could be the image of the person you're talking to, and now you're looking right at the image. Right through the image is the camera, and now we're looking truly at people. So that may help. That may be a technological fix for some of this, but we got some problems here because of our need, a great need. Think about it. This is during World War II in Europe, you had to black out your curtains, but you could still have anybody over you wanted to and party all night, right? But we are actually more isolated than at any time. We were already the most isolated society on earth, and now we are more isolated than at any time in history, period. It's a big problem, and we need to find creative ways to solve the problem. So that's one thing, is, try to figure out a way to mindfully and genuinely interact, hopefully, with people that don't have COVID. Or the flu, for that matter, because who wants to get the flu? All right, so, sleeping, stress, social interaction, these are big stressors. What about, I don't know, what do you think's next?
Food.
Yeah, food.
The things that you eat. Typically this time of year is kind of when our sugar consumption goes up, especially around the holiday season.
Comfort food.
And we all know that, and it's just not, when you think of sugar, I think a lot of time you naturally think of like cookies and cakes, but there are a lot of sugar, like sugar that is added to foods that we wouldn't even think have all this sugar in them. So when you're making all those, creamy dishes, you're not realizing all the extra sugar content.
And even, this is the time of year where we make a lot of mashed potatoes maybe and rice dishes, and those are simple carbs that are converted fairly quickly into sugar. And all of that, why do we care about sugar? Well, it suppresses your immune system, no question. So be mindful about your eating. I mean, celebrate. You should celebrate because celebration is good for your soul, right? But at the same time, don't celebrate 3 meals a day, 7 days a week for the next 3 months. Thanksgiving dinner, that's a time to celebrate. But all of those days leading up, eat well. Lots of vegetables, right? So that's a piece of it. Now, I really feel strongly that, all of this stuff you'll see now, starting now through the holidays, there'll be a million posts about how to make your Thanksgiving dinner healthy. Forget it. Just forget it. Make your Thanksgiving dinner the celebration, the beautiful historical dishes of your family, whatever they are. If they're mashed potatoes, if they're, green bean casserole, if it's, whatever weird, things that we all make for these lutefisk, something really lovely like lutefisk, whatever it is, do it. It's all the days leading up and it's the days leading out, Don't feast every single day. Feast on the day. Thanksgiving dinner, Christmas dinner, New Year's Eve dinner. Do it. Do it the way you've always done it. Do it the way you love. I like to say, nobody got heart disease on their birthday and Thanksgiving and Christmas and Easter and, Hanukkah and you name your important holiday. You get heart disease on all the days in between. So eat well on those days in between. All right, so that's most of the lifestyle stuff. Did we miss anything big there?
Exercise and movement.
Yeah.
Which I think, is helpful for stress management and sleep and all those other things as well.
Yeah, there's good data that getting up somewhere close to the sunrise and doing some light aerobic activity sets your circadian rhythm. And that it does it by adjusting how much and when you release melatonin. So, try to be up fairly early and do some kind of movement with full facial sunlight if you can. That will really, really help with your circadian rhythms. It does, and melatonin is really good for your immune system. So it'll do a lot of positive things. And then, what can you do in addition? What's that?
Relationships too is one of the.
I kind of touched on relationships, but go ahead. Say
no,
some
you
more.
did with social integration, I suppose.
But go ahead. What did you want to say?
Just how the relationships. I know right now, especially with.
We're all cooped up in a box together. Is it easy to stay? Civil?
Well, and I think it's easy to look at. Okay. Perhaps you had made plans for Thanksgiving and now you're having to second guess those plans, or not second guess them, but you're having to create new plans. And I think it's easy to, at least for me, it's easy for me to look at, what I'm going without instead of really just embracing what I actually am still able to experience. And that's, this year I'm going to teach my boys how to make Thanksgiving meal, because guess what? If it tastes not as optimal as I would like it to, it's just us eating it anyway. So they're going to learn how to make a Thanksgiving meal. And, it's just little things like that that really, we don't always get the time that we desire to spend with those people that we live with, or, give them the attention that perhaps they need. And I think this is a great time to just really concentrate on maybe doing that instead of concentrating on the without. So, I can't see my mom or my, siblings.
Right. Yeah,
But-
I was planning to go visit. We all were planning to go visit my son, and
This weekend?
that's called off because he lives in Michigan in Grand Rapids, and there's just COVID is blooming all around. He's got people that work for him, dropping like flies with positive tests. And that was a bad choice of words because they're not dying, but they're sick or they have positive tests, and so. We're getting a lot. In fact, the school here is going to distance learning because of the number of cases in our community, but we're still very lucky compared to urban centers where we don't have nearly as much COVID around us as others. But
true.
these things, and the very fact that we're worrying about this pandemic and flu season coming, and, the worry becomes, how do I even get care if I have a heart attack or if my diabetes gets out of control? Because even our small hospital locally is
overwhelmed. Because a lot of the patients that they would normally ship out, nobody's taking them right now. So they're having to deal with this influx of patients that they're not able to find space for elsewhere. And then also the patients coming into them. So it doesn't take long for it to...
it's a kind of a domino thing, one thing leads to the next.
And it happens rather quickly, once it gets to that full point. So what else can we do?
Stay home. Stay home. Samuel L. Jackson, I'm not going to repeat the words he uses, but you can imagine what they might be.
He reads a book.
He reads a book that he wrote, Stay the Blank Home.
But, and I was thinking along the lines of, like, me personally, I'm like, okay, so what's those extra things I can really optimize? And one for me is vitamin D, because I know I need more vitamin D than the average person to function at a normal level. So I'm really concentrating on my vitamin D levels right now, and I'm taking a lot of vitamin D because I know that I need to.
So here in Minnesota, in my clinic, I measure vitamin D levels all the time. I put people on 5,000 units a day. And that is barely enough for most people. It gets them into the 40 range, and probably optimal is 50 or even above. So the normal range is 30 to maybe 100, depending on the lab. And being up above 50 is probably where you want to be. I have many, many patients on 5,000 units a day who don't make it to 40. So funny story, I have a patient, she's on 5,000 a day, and she goes to her doctor, and her doctor says, her primary care doctor, says, oh my gosh, that's an awful lot of vitamin D. We better run a blood test. So they run a blood test, and her vitamin D level was 40. Well, as I said, normal is 30 to about 100. And she looks at that 40, and she goes, well, I don't know. That's an awful lot of vitamin D. You better stop that. Well, okay. And so she came back to see me. I'm the nutritional doctor, right? And I said, well, the normal range is 30 to 100, and you were 40, and I told you we want you to be above 50. Is it your opinion that you should probably stop the vitamin D? No. Well, why did this doctor get so upset? Because the only thing we learn in medical school about nutrition, by and large, I mean, this is an oversimplification, but we all learn that you shouldn't eat a polar bear liver because it has so much vitamin A in it, it could kill you. So that's really useful information if you happen to live, in the Arctic. Don't eat a polar bear liver all at once because it's so much vitamin A, it might kill you.
All at once.
Yeah, all at once. But it's just a funny thing. We go into the ICU as doctors, and we push these incredibly dangerous drugs without thinking too much about it, other than, we know we have to monitor them properly. But the truth is, they say, well, use that drug with caution. Oh, okay, well, what does that really mean? Because I'm going to give it, right? I'm going to give it. So I guess I'm going to monitor their EKG and whatever. But on the other hand, something as innocuous as a vitamin, oh my God, we're going to kill people. No, we're not, actually. It's very safe. So anyway, taking some vitamin D, I think that's really good. Another thing is beta-glucan. Beta-glucan is an extract of baker's yeast, or brewer's yeast. It can be also, but baker's yeast usually. And this beta-glucan primes our immune system. It doesn't stimulate our immune system, it primes our immune system. The immune system basically needs 2 insults to be stimulated. And so we can keep our immune system primed all the time. And then another product that I think is really important is colostrum. There's several studies that show that colostrum is actually better than a flu shot. Now, I have a flu shot, but I take colostrum also. I get my flu shot every year. I'm pro-vaccine. You maybe you are, maybe you aren't. It doesn't matter to me. What does matter to me is colostrum. Colostrum is important.
Yeah, and I think some of us can't take, I can't have a flu shot because I had Guillain-Barré.
Yeah.
So, for me, this is a great option because, it gives me the support along with some extra probiotics too, that I know that I'm getting that extra protection that I need. So it's nice to know that we have another option.
People say, well, immunizations aren't dangerous. Well, they're not dangerous until something bad happens to you. Right?
Or someone you know. Then yes.
Guillain-Barré can be fatal. It can be very serious. You have Guillain-Barré one time.
Probably not getting a flu shot.
Probably not getting a flu shot, right? And likewise, whether it was the cause or not, if your child has autism, you're probably not immunizing anybody. So it's it's nuanced, it's individual. You need to think about it. Do you take a flu shot every year? Yolanda, I do take a flu shot every year, and it's an interesting conundrum because we know that taking a flu shot every year probably makes it less effective. They're actually one of the great researchers in the flu shot itself is at the University of Minnesota, and he says he's pro-vaccine but anti-flu shot because it's a terrible immunization. And he doesn't mean anti as in don't take it. He means we need to work harder to get a better one. They're generally, 40 to 60% effective depending on the year. And the more of them you've had sequentially, apparently they diminish in their activity somewhat, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but it appears to be the case. So putting colostrum on top of that was shown to actually be 3 times more effective than the flu shot in a general population and in a very high-risk cardiovascular population. So, yes, I do take the flu shot. I got mine at Costco this year. She nearly had a panic attack while I was getting it.
I did. A little bit. There's a little bit of PTSD there when it comes to that. So I was like, I wasn't expecting it either. We were going grocery shopping and all of a sudden he's like, I'm going to get a flu shot. And I'm like, oh, he's getting a flu shot. Watching all of his movements and analyzing his voice. I'm like, I think you're slurring your words a little bit.
Definitely getting Guillain-Barré.
But
whatever.
Yeah.
So, those 3 supplements. Then we have one called Immune Fit. Immune Fit has a bunch of supplements in it, all that have either scientific or medical literature surrounding them and surrounding their efficacy against preventing or reducing the number of days one is sick with URI, flu, or even herpes simplex virus, the cold sore virus. So sometimes it makes my autoimmune disease flare up, so I go back and forth with it. Yeah, Yolanda's talking about she's worried, or it feels to her like the flu shot flares up her autoimmune disease, and you're not the only one who says that. So yeah, I mean, I would definitely be cautious.
I think that's a known effect that it can cause inflammatory responses in certain individuals. So.
Yep. And so now you're weighing, the flu, how dangerous it is it, versus the side effects. And for many people, colostrum is a really good option. Now and
vitamin D too.
And vitamin D too. And
D3, but I meant D also, not D2.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, not D2, D3 also.
Yes.
The beta glucan or beta glycan, I guess it's called.
Yep, that baker's
I always say it wrong. Yeah, baker's
yeast. And the PEA as well, right? I thought that.
Yeah, PEA too. We haven't gotten to that one yet. But so the Immune Fit has a bunch of ingredients in it, and it's a big pill bottle. You take 6 a day, 3 in the morning, 3 in the evening. I take 3 every day as sort of like making sure that I'm primed. And then at the first little, I think my back of my throat kind of is bothering me, I jump to 6 right away. And then we have a product called Neuroimmune Support, which is PEA, totally unpronounceable giant word, but it's been shown not only to help with inflammation and nerve pain and all kinds of good things. It's anti-flu. It has evidence to support the notion that it will reduce the number of days you get the flu, and fewer percentage of the population who take this stuff will get the flu. So, and these are published papers that you can look up if you go to our website, the store, and look up these supplements. They'll be there. So we've got the basics, right? Sleep, eat well, manage your stress well. Consider to go to our website and look at Rebalance to Heal. A lot of stress management ideas in the Rebalance to Heal.
Probably have a little bit of extra time.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Up ahead. So, and we all like, okay, so what new series can I watch on Netflix?
That's why I brought my cello back out.
Yeah.
My electric cello, because I have a little more time.
Yeah, it's fun to do those creative things. I've been doing a lot more writing and looking at getting back on the cricket and all that fun stuff. But, it's something that you could do with your whole family, really, the Rebalance to Heal or parts of the program.
I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were talking about how they were really sure that there would be no possibility that their young kids would, meditate. And yet they tried to engage them, and the kids actually loved it.
My kids love it when I make them do it.
Yeah, it's just getting them to do it. It's
and I have to make them to do it. But when I tell them and I start, I do guided meditations with them, they love it. You can tell they just really enjoy the experience, even though the older ones definitely would never admit it.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so that's how to enrich. Should you put on a little concert for us?
Twinkle, twinkle, little star.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Here it is. But it's an electric cello is the problem, so it's not loud. But it's my electric cello, and here's my earphones, so I can do it without disturbing anybody. And yeah, here it is. That's the finger picking style. My bow is in the case over here. Here's my bow. So anyway. Kind of crazy, yeah. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Sometime we'll do a concert. Oh, Susie, hi. How are you? All the way from the Carolinas. So I think we're just about to. What else?
Jody and Yolanda love it.
Oh yeah, you want to hear a concert, huh? Okay. It'll probably be on my personal page and not on this page, but I'm actually was thinking about that today while I was walking the dogs. I'm gonna I have to do a video for my virtual instructor, who's a great guy, Mike Block, phenomenal cellist who used to tour with the Silk Road group, including Yo-Yo Ma, big time. And here he is. I can't even really do Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, but what do you do?
Hey, but you're trying it. You're trying something new.
I am, and he actually acts like he cares that I'm trying too. I mean, it's amazing. He's actually interested, and he's like this big deal cellist. All right. Anyhow, I think we've extinguished our time.
Joey says,
you'll watch for my concert? Okay, so it's going to be Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, the French folk song, and Gently Row. Those are going to be, that's the concert. Those are the
told him
three
he
songs.
he has to practice a Christmas song though, because I think we should do a Christmas concert.
Yeah, she said she's going to get out her flute.
I'll get out my flute and Gavin can play the piano.
Yeah, that's no fair because he's a good piano player. All right, so let's work hard at remembering to give yourself an opportunity for 8 hours of sleep. Be mindful about stress. Try to manage it with your indoor voice, which I don't always accomplish.
Doing creative things,
and
like playing the cello or...
Yeah.
you know, whatever it is that you always enjoyed doing when you were younger and when you had more time, or maybe just the thought of doing, start doing it.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes, Christmas songs. I agree.
Yes, Christmas songs. Yeah, I don't know any.
Well,
Jingle
you're going
bells.
to learn some.
I could shake the jingle bell thing. Yeah. All right. We'll see you this morning at about 11:45, was it?
11:30ish, I think.
I think whatever. Elizabeth came in and said, I think it's Thursday. So that's why we're on at 2:30 today, is because...
And he almost forgot about the 2:30 time.
Yeah.
I was like, it's 2:17. We're getting ready for that live suit.
It's
He
like,
starts laughing.
better run and get the microphones out. So here we are. Yeah. All right. So we will be back next Thursday.
Next Thursday's Thanksgiving.
Oh, I guess we won't be back next Thursday.
Maybe Wednesday night or something. Should we do an evening one?
Sure, we'll do an evening one. Wednesday night. What
7.
time? 7 Central. Mm-hmm. Okay, that'll be exciting because that's bedtime for Bonzo around here. So
well, it'll be Wednesday before Thanksgiving. He can stay up a little bit later.
Okay,
so.
good. So there we go. Maybe we'll have him on too.
Yeah, he can say hi.
He wants to do this all the time. So.
Yeah.
All righty. We will see you next week. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.